What is going on, Sabres fans, and welcome to another episode of Sabres Spotlight, where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
What up? What up, man? We got plenty of playoff hockey to discuss, and I'm sleepy tonight. I'll just be honest, I'm sleepy.
Yeah, it was. So we'll go around the league here first. Just a disclaimer: if you hear either one of us give a yell, it's because we both got the Amerks game on right now. It's in Game 3, and they're tied 1-1 right now in overtime. So we're either going to be really happy sometime soon or really sad sometime soon if this happens to finish up sometime while we're live on the podcast here. But last time we spoke, there was nothing at least finalized as far as the NHL playoffs go. There was a couple series where teams were looking dead in the water, but nothing was finished yet. So, what do you think about where we're currently at? So, the Carolina Hurricanes clinched, and the Rangers, moved on, as well as the Oilers. I think that and the Panthers. Yeah. So there's been
And the
a bunch of
Avalanche.
and Avalanche. Yeah. Holy shit. So, what are your thoughts right now? Any surprises right now? Is it kind of all chalk for what you were thinking? What do you think?
Well, first of all, and just before this, I'm looking at my phone, and I don't know what defenseman it was, but someone just saved the game by diving across the crease like fucking what's his face from Mighty Ducks diving across the goal to save a goal. That was insane.
Did that hit him in the
Well,
head? It looked like it hit him in the head.
I don't know, but that was pretty, just putting your balls on the line right there. That was pretty nice. But dude, so I gotta say also that I bet the listeners out there like love that we just jump into the sports now and we don't even fucking talk about our miserable lives. I'm
I
kidding.
thought I thought I
They're
thought
not
about that.
they're not miserable. It's just really funny.
I thought about that a few weeks ago. And I was like, "Oh shit, we haven't done that in a while." I wouldn't
It
mind getting
just
back to that, but
it just goes to show that like not much has really happened. Like honestly, like I feel like the day to day, which is how I prefer it. My day to day has been like so regular for like the last like week or two, and it's really great. But let's just jump into the series, dude. I gotta say, we gotta start with my team that got bounced in the first round and the Winnipeg Jets. I am so disappointed by this team. Colorado advances and wins in 5 games, and I'm just I'm just sick of it. If I was a Winnipeg fan, I would just be sick of it because it's the same thing every single year, and they were really good in game 1, and it's not even like Colorado was bad. I just thought Winnipeg was better. But the last 4 games, they got thoroughly outplayed.
yeah, yeah, it was. I watched a bit of this series. I mean, and it was I said last week on the show I was still, despite Winnipeg at the time being down 2-1, I was still kind of on board with them just because of Hellebuck, and it's no doubt that he had a bad series. Do you think it was more on Hellebuck, or do you think like defensively, like they just had a lot of breakdowns, or did the skill of Colorado just kind of like take over? Like, what do you think kind of tilted the series so unevenly?
I feel like it's a combination of all three because even today, Hellebuck said in his like post, his locker cleanout interview that half the pucks that went in he didn't even see. So
Yeah,
I feel like it's good on Colorado to get bodies in front of them, and Winnipeg was like one of the best defensive teams all year, and they kind of let Colorado just like live in their kitchen the whole series. They gave up what, five goals in every series, Winnipeg? That's insane.
yeah, yeah. And I'm curious your thoughts on like obviously Hellebuck is a big Vezina candidate along with
He's gonna win.
Bob
He should win.
Bobrovsky.
He
Yeah,
should
but do
win.
you think like I know they say it's a regular season award, but do you think like this hurts his chances? Like the fact that they got bounced in the first round. Like I don't know. I as much as they say that the playoffs don't influence things, you have to think. I mean, people, it's human nature, so you have to think it
Right.
does to some degree.
I do wonder with that, like if the voting is concluded like at the beginning of playoffs. Like, I wonder if like that vote's already been done and dusted, and so that the playoffs don't weigh a factor on it. Because his
Yeah,
numbers were fucking insane in the regular season. They were phenomenal, and they just got blown away. I mean, Cale Makar had multiple games where he was just the best player on the ice, and McKinnon was unbelievable. And props to Casey Middlestat, man. This was his playoff debut, and that line with him And later on in the series, it was with Parise because Rantanen was out for a couple games, and friggin' Arturi Lehkonen, like Middlestat and Lehkonen were unbelievable this series, and Winnipeg just had no answer. Their stars once again did not show up. I mean, it's
Yeah,
insane. Like it's every year the same thing, and they just like spin their wheels and really do nothing. Like I know last
yeah.
year they made that Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, and look how that kind of worked out. Like they got bounced in the first round, and the Kings got bounced in the first round. So really nobody won there.
Yeah, nobody won there, but at least they offloaded Dubois. I mean, that
Oh,
dude's
he's
just been
fucking
like an
brutal.
answer like everywhere he's been. But that's a good call bringing up Middlestat because I it's not something that was on my mind, and I think it's a good idea to talk about it on the show tonight. But he did play good, man. And wasn't it the big dog himself who afterwards said that Middlestat was their best player in the
Yeah,
series?
I don't know about all that. Like he was really good, but the last game, the clincher, like I thought he wasn't very good, but like he overall had a good series. So like props. That's probably Nate being like this fucking new guy was so good for us. Like that's kind
Yeah.
of how he is, like a psycho. He's gonna gas him up like that and be a leader.
Yeah, well, and I'm not like, I mean, you know me, I'm not all for like rooting for these players that were on the bill or that were on the Sabres that are like, oh my God, I just wish them nothing but the best now. Like
Oh
Middlestat's
yeah.
a little bit of an exception for sure, but like all the like Oposo stuff, like I really don't care like that Oposo's like that won a playoff series. Like, and I'm not rooting for him, but Middlestat's a little bit different because like I thoroughly enjoyed Middlestat when he was here, and I'm definitely rooting for him. But yeah, I think you're right. I think as far as Colorado goes, it was just kind of a little bit of everything, and they certainly took over, and Winnipeg looked outmatched. You know, in those last few games, it was 4-1, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That was how it ended. Yeah,
yep.
4-1. Yeah, so interesting. I think the where I want to take this first. Well, I mean, we can. Do you want to spend any time Carolina or Rangers? I mean, the Rangers got the sweep, which everyone kind of thought. Um, any
Yeah, we got a
thoughts on
first round
Rempe?
bye. They had a first round bye. Oh, this guy just fucking annihilating people like once again. Like this guy is an absolute mutant out there. Like I don't know. I don't know how the NHL is gonna deal with this guy like at all. But hey, Rangers
He
fans
didn't.
love him. He's the Empire State Building. Rangers fans love this guy.
That nickname is pretty dope.
I
I'm
know
not
it
gonna
is.
lie.
It is. And dude, he like gets it's insane. Like the buzz in the building when he's on the ice. You'd think he'd be like Connor McDavid out there. It's crazy. But it's
He's
just
playing
him
like
just
7 minutes a night, but it's the most electric 7 minutes ever.
it's just him just like bodying people, and it's bonkers, man. I kind of love it, but at the same time I'm like, all right, buddy. Like come on.
Well, speaking of getting bodied, Devin Levi is straight up bodying the Syracuse Crunch right now. This man has 53 saves right now, and just for perspective, for those listening, the Rochester Amerks have 27 shots. Like if they escape with a win tonight, Syracuse is going to feel absolutely defeated because they're destroying us right now. But Levi is 100% keeping us in there. But yeah, so Rangers go 4-0. Rempe had another somewhat questionable hit where he kind of leaves his feet. We don't need to get into it too much, but we'll see what happens in the next series. They're going to be matched up against Carolina. So
Yeah.
both teams didn't get too much of a challenge in the first round. And the Islanders, for a second, it looked like they were going to come back. You know, I think they tied it 3-3 in the last game, and then Carolina eventually pulled away. They scored like 2 goals in 19
Well,
seconds.
dude, it happened twice where in the previous game Carolina scored 2 goals in 8 seconds, and then the series clincher Carolina scored 2 goals in 9 seconds. Like I can't believe how horrible. Like, that's such bad luck. It's insane.
Well, you saw the goal like bounce off
Yeah.
the
Like
like
they did
side,
nothing
like
wrong. They did nothing
yeah,
wrong on the fourth goal or the fifth goal. Like it was
yeah,
just a fluke. I feel bad for Islanders fans. They Dude, that team kind of gave Carolina like all they had. Like they pushed it.
yeah.
Like even though the series was 4-1 like in the end, all 5 games were good. Like they were close games. Like there was besides the one where Carolina had like outshot them, like shot attempts were like 128 to like 15. It was just fucking
Yeah,
crazy. But
yeah,
besides that, every game was good.
yeah. Can't be too mad at like the Islanders like making the playoffs. Like they're just kind of consistent, and like they have some good players at the top between Barzal and Horvat. So they got some scorers and whatnot. Anders Lee is like a big guy, so like they got some experience and whatnot, and they gave him a run. Like, so I don't know. I think there's a lot of that out there too. Like, especially in like Sabres Twitter, like, oh, like the Sabres should have been over Islanders, and it's like I don't know. Like the Sabres didn't like they just weren't consistent enough, and the Islanders. It's not like they were this dud team like the Capitals. Like that's one I can agree with, but the Islanders they showed that they deserve to be there, and but yeah, I mean, eventually, ultimately, Carolina kind of took over. Carolina's kind of a wagon, but I want to go to Dallas and Vegas because
This is the best series out of all of them.
this series is nuts. And I was on the show last week, and I said we both said Dallas is not out, and here they are. They win three in a row, and I remember I'm taking mad credit for this. I said this just is a weird series where I think the away team is going to win every single game, and that's exactly what's happened so far. So going back to Vegas or going back to Vegas
Yep,
for
going back to
Game
Vegas.
6. Oh well, actually no, because never mind. Dallas just won at home,
Yep.
so that it did happen through 4 games, but Dallas gets the win at home, and now going back to Vegas, where Vegas is gonna look to do the same thing and get to Game 7. But what are you thinking of this series, man? This has been a fun one.
Dude, I mean, both teams are incredible. Like this could be like a Western Conference Finals type
I know it's
matchup in the
disappointing
beginning.
that it's now.
Yeah, it's and Jeff Merrick makes this point where it's like he loves the fact that these good teams play each other early because they're healthy. Whereas like if they're in the Western Conference Final, they're all banged up and shit. That kind of like makes sense to me like a little bit. Like I get the stakes are much higher in the like Western Conference Eastern Conference Final, but I do get his point where like they're both relatively healthy and firing on all cylinders, and all of these games have been must watches. How about friggin' Logan Stankoven, unbelievable player. Wyatt Johnston, unbelievable player. Miro Heiskanen, an unbelievable player. Dallas is just as much of a wagon as Vegas is. The
Yeah,
LTIR cheaters.
Dallas is great, and the best part about this is and you can probably attribute to this maybe to coaching, but also to the veteran leadership on their team, which is both a reason why we took them as our cup favorites. Is these young kids, like Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven, like they do not look scared or intimidated out there.
No,
Like there's
not at
some of
all.
there have been two of the best players in the entire series, and that's your that's your player leadership talking to these kids and saying, listen, like we're all right, we're down 2-0, but we're good, we're gonna go into Vegas and we're gonna do it, and like that's impressive to me. So shout out to them and them clawing back in the series. And I mean, you would say now they have the upper hand, but you never really know. I mean, anything happens in Game 6 and then Game 7. I have a feeling this one's going to go 7. I picked Dallas to win in 7, but I do hope they get it done in 6 just so it's over with because I can't
Oh,
stand Vegas. But oh, what do we got? What do we got?
oh
Something
my
happened?
god.
Oh, breakaway. 2-0, nothing. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Rammers just had a 2-0 and didn't score.
Yeah, who took the shot? Was that Jobst?
Jobs. Oh
At
my
least
god.
Neuchev's in tonight.
Jesus Christ. But dude, so back to that series, I'm all distracted because I thought we were gonna win. Um, how shocked are you that Vegas put in Aiden Hill for Game 5?
So who had they been going with? They were going
They were
with
going with Thompson the whole
Logan.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what was there a rationale afterwards? Like, did the coach say why or anything?
Not no, maybe just to give them like a spark because they were up 2-0 in the series and then now they're down 3-2 in the series.
Yeah, yeah,
But there was one time because Aiden Hill's like a big goalie and Thompson is not a big goalie. Evgeny Bednov sniped from the friggin' goal line in the previous game, and
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
I
like
remember
led to
seeing that.
Thompson like
Yeah,
looking shaky in that game, and that might have been like, all right, well, we'll just put Hill in the next game. The only guys that have really played well at all times for Vegas is Eichel, and you know Aiden Hill was really good last game. But besides that, dude, I feel like Vegas has barely showed up past their first 2 games.
yeah. I don't have a problem with the goalie switch. I mean, I think in the playoffs we've talked about the importance of like riding a guy or whatever, like Boston for example. But like, I mean, in the regular season, it's what these guys are used to. Like your starters going maybe 4 or 5 at a time and then switching out. So it's kind of a continuation of that. And I don't think watching that game, I don't think he played like a bad game. So like I wouldn't necessarily put like the loss on him. I think
Yeah,
Dallas was just ended up being the better team. But that game was like, I guess it's hard to say that Dallas was even the better team because it was just such an evenly matched game. Honestly, like Dallas just ended up getting the extra goal. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
have no
just
problem with it. I'd be interested to see if they stick with it or if they go back to him for Game 6.
I just love how back and forth like both teams like they both have their moments like but Dallas just has that they just flip that switch like sudden like they're just so good and dominant. They're that's the reason why they're my Stanley Cup pick. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hopefully Vegas. I want Dallas to win the series, but I kind of want Vegas to win Game 6 just so we get a Game 7.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and I know we don't necessarily like Jack Eichel on this podcast, but I mean he's been playing really good.
Dude,
Like
he's been lights out,
yeah,
lights the fuck out.
he's been really really good. He's a great player. Just unfortunate it didn't work out here, but
You
um,
can, dude. It's so funny. We can talk about almost every team in the playoffs and be like, wow, he's a great player. I wish it really worked out in Buffalo.
well, it's a good segue into the next series we want to talk about. Another one that wrapped up the Battle of Florida. So Florida takes out the Tampa Bay Lightning. What are your overarching thoughts on this series here? Despite it being 4-1, this was a heck of a series as well. I think.
Oh, I mean, it was great. Battle of Florida. This was for me a changing of the guard, like a changing of the guard, like officially though. Like Florida is Florida's team now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
Well,
did
that
you
makes
think?
sense. I mean, because there's a lot there. Yeah, there's a lot of story. I guess what from this series, like, there's a lot more storylines afterwards. Like that's one. Obviously, Florida, like they got a core group of guys that looks like kind of like the Tampa Bay was. When they first put together. So maybe is that changing of the guard in there? Obviously, the Stamkos thing. Like,
That was crazy.
what's he gonna do? That dude, man, I just like love like watching that game and you see the handshakes after and just like the absolute like respect he gets from the other like Paul Maurice, gives him a nod and then you can tell all the players too and then he stays on the at the bench until all his guys come in. Like it's just like the definition of a true leader. And I don't know what's going to happen with him in the offseason. I think as much as we want him coming here, that's probably a long shot. But who knows if he stays in Tampa Bay or not. But yeah, this was a fun series, man. I mean, Bobrovsky was great in net. So was Vasilevsky. It was just, like I said, pretty even matched, honestly, despite it being a 4-1 result.
Dude, I mean, it was. I just keep thinking this. The thing that sticks in my mind is the Bobrovsky save from game 4.
Yeah,
Dude, just unbelievable athletic effort from Sergei Bobrovsky. And dude, I'm just really sad for Stamkos. Like Tampa Bay has not been my favorite team like over the last couple of years. They're so dominant. They're in our division. They destroy the Sabres all the time. But seeing him like take it in, like potentially as his like in his last moments on ice as a Tampa Bay Lightning, just kind of made me sad.
yeah,
Come
yeah.
to Buffalo, Steven. Come to Buffalo. We'll pay you. We'll give you 4 years, $5.5 million a year. You'll come live in Buffalo. Bring your family up here if you got one. It's a great place to live, and you can play with Zach Benson, our little devil.
It's gonna be interesting, man, because I don't think like it's gonna be harder for Buffalo, of course, to attract like free agents. I kind of feel like they need to put together a good year to really want people to come here. Like I just feel like
Like last year.
players like him. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I kind of just think like players like him or these veteran guys with a handful of years of experience that are maybe like later 20s or mid 20s like they're going to want to see that first before they think about committing. And so it's going to be Adams is going to have to find the right guys that teams want to move that make sense or that don't have no trades and we'll obviously talk about that going forward, but that's just kind of I feel like where Adams is stuck a little bit. But this was a great series. I also wonder about um, Kucherov and the voting for what's the MVP again? What's it called? It's
Oh
escaping
my
me.
God, why Art Ross? Art Ross might be
No,
scoring leader,
no,
dude.
no, no. Isn't that the Rocket Richard
No, that's goal leader. Oh my God, I
goal
feel
leader?
so
Yeah, yeah.
fucking stupid.
What is the MVP
Art
again?
Ross. Art Ross.
No, it's not. It's Art Ross.
Yes, 100%.
That doesn't even
I'm not
like.
saying 100% because I'm a fucking idiot right now. I'm just like not. I'm so tired. Like I cannot think right now.
I don't think that's it either. Are you
You're
looking it up right
wrong.
now?
You're no. Yeah. Nope. That's
Is
the person that leads the league in points. My brain is not working.
it's so funny that neither one of us can think of it right now. We've been talking about it
Oh, the
all year.
heart.
So it's
The
like,
fucking heart, dude.
oh
My
my
heart.
god, yeah,
I'm naming every
okay.
other goddamn trophy. My brain. I said I was sleepy. I am so sleepy, dude. The heart.
So that's another one where I'm wondering if Kucherov like is going to get zing for the heart because of that. But again, we don't know when the voting wraps up
Right.
and whatnot.
I
But
mean,
just a
dude,
thought.
he should really win the Hart Trophy. Like I know McDavid had like another unreal year, but dude, he had like what a hundred. He had 100 assist season, 140 points ish,
Yeah, but
and
then there's a dog too.
yeah, I know. Like you really can't go wrong. But
It's
dude,
those three. It's those three.
Kucherov should win just because like the discrepancy in points on his team. Like there was a year where Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy and he had like 98 points,
Oh my
and
god, I still
and the
can't believe
next
that ever happened.
the next devil had like 60. Like it was crazy. That's how I
Yeah,
feel about Kucherov in Tampa.
yeah, it is a good point. It is a good point. That's definitely something that he has over some of the other contenders. Edmonton and LA probably don't have to spend too much time there. Edmonton moves on. LA just
Yeah. East Coast crew I could not hang for these games. I'm getting too old.
no. I
I
didn't care about that
like
series anyways.
second
But
period comes and I'm zonked. I went to bed. I couldn't watch
yeah,
anything after whatever happened in this series, every single game from like period two and a half on. I was asleep.
yeah, yeah. But I will be interested if Vancouver ends up matching against them. I got my Nuck shirt on here, brand new, ready for our playoff run. Let's go Nucks. And they're up. What they're up 3-2 right now on the Preds, right?
They're on their third goaltender.
Dude, who's even in net now? I don't even know.
This I don't. I'm probably gonna get his first name wrong because I don't know what it is, but like his last name is Seelovs. Never heard of this guy in my life. First Demko goes down, probably done for for the playoffs, and then Casey Smith gets injured and he's done for who knows how long. If he's healthy in the next game, he should play. But this backup to the backup, Seelovs has been pretty goddamn good. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
He's been
they're
good.
gonna. He's gonna catch lightning in a bottle, and we'll be ready. I'm still taking. I picked Canucks in 5, so unfortunately we didn't get there. But I'm going Canucks in 6 on this one, and then we're gonna match up against Edmonton, and that'll be a hell of a series. Anything? The only one we didn't touch on is Boston and Toronto. You got anything there, real quick, before we move into the Sabers?
Well, it's 1-0 Toronto with 6 minutes left in the third period. Toronto can push it to a game seven, and not they didn't have Matthews for this game or the game before where they won, and to push it to a game six.
Jeez. Yeah.
Incredible. I don't know what's funnier. Tell me what you think is funnier because I can't figure it out. Is it funnier for the Leafs to lose the series because it's always funny for the Leafs to lose the series, or is it funnier for the Leafs to come back and win the series without Matthews? And for Boston to collapse majorly.
That's kind of a win-win.
I know. It's like I don't know what I'm rooting for more. I'm kind of just rooting for both these teams to like beat each other up and then Florida to just, crush the winner in round two.
Yeah, I think Florida will, even though I picked Boston to go to the conference final.
They
Uh,
look like fucking garbage. Like they look
yeah,
horrible. They're like
yeah,
I don't even understand what's going on. They don't look good at all. Like this game tonight before I came on here, I watched. I mean, it's 1-0 right now, but it was just a slog. The Bruins had like two shots in the first period and then another three shots in the second period, and now shots are like 24-21. But still, holy shit, dude. It was like an awful hockey game.
yeah. It's that pressure to close it out, man. They've struggled with that.
Yep.
They have not. They've had difficulty with that throughout the years, well, especially last year too. But just an update for everyone listening: Syracuse, Rochester are heading to double overtime. So no goals in that overtime. We're heading to double overtime. What a game this is right now. But all right, that's gonna do it for NHL talk here. Let's get into the Sabres. We got a fun show planned here tonight. Probably be some good, probably be some good laughs
We
on this show
literally
here
are
tonight.
only recording just to make fun of each other for our dumb predictions in the beginning of the season.
So if you've been with us for the whole year, appreciate that, and if you're new to the show, well, thanks for tuning in. But we're gonna do this every single year, and we had a show early on. It was like our fourth or fifth show that we did some over unders for the season. Some of them were self generated, and some of them were just the sports books over unders that we used, and we're gonna go through them here. And I went back and a few days ago, and I listened to the show so I could get this information for what we picked, and there was some pretty fantastic quotes, and it's just I think it'll put things into perspective. We can obviously have some talk and conversation as we go throughout as with certain players and things, but it does put into perspective like the year that this was truly kind of like expectations versus reality, type thing. And we'll get into the first one here. So the first one was season points on FanDuel for the Buffalo Sabres was set at 92.5. Of course, we ended with 84, so it would have been under on that. We got some
Uh,
quotes. We got some good quotes
I
here to
remember
share.
I yelled into the camera and I said, hammer the over. I think the Sabres are a 98-point team. The potential is there. Oh my God, man. How embarrassing. Just starting off 98 points? 98. What the fuck was I thinking? Don Granato ruined me.
Well, here's the thing. So I wanted to ask you about this when I read it. Like, do you like even now? Obviously, we didn't hit that, but do you think that's a false statement?
No, because when October comes and we're doing our little betting preview, over under preview for 2024, 2025, I'm gonna say the Sabres are a 98-point team and I'm betting the over on 92 points. So
I think that potential was there this year, though. I think at the beginning of the season that was true. I honestly think that the coaching staff and Donnie Boy cost them probably those
and,
7 games,
and
even
then you
just
know
getting
what
to
happened, dude?
overtime.
Okay, so let's get into it a little bit because I've been listening to like some post-mortem podcasts on the Sabres, like uh, Lance Lysowski and Joe Yurden's podcast, and then also Matthew Fairburn and um, what the fuck's his name? Baker. Oh my god, can't remember his. God damn it! But anyway, they were talking about how like in practice, like in the preseason, Eric Johnson didn't play a single game in preseason, and the first time he ever played a live game with the Sabres was the opening game, and like that happened to like a bunch of other players, and training camp was just they were just off to a bad start. Like all the stuff that's coming out now about like training camp and stuff and how it was run and like what they did in the summer to prepare and like what they thought of the team. Like they were just wholly unprepared and you saw what happened in the season. We didn't have to get into all that again. I just thought it was really funny that they were just like, yeah, we saw the signs and 6 months ago and I'm like, so fucking fix it
Let's
then.
do nothing. Let's
Yeah,
do
let's do
nothing.
absolutely nothing. Okay, cool. Thanks for making me lose my bet. If I actually bet on these, my wife would divorce me.
Well, speaking of betting, so it's so funny because my quote was, "I've never bet a future before, but I'm smashing this over. It's a lock." So we were both like just so amped up going to this. That's where everyone was. There was some extreme optimism and exhilaration when the season started, and unfortunately, it just didn't shake out that way. But we'll get into Tage Thompson's season goals next. Well, we can combine this, season goals and season points. So the over under was set at 47.5 for goals. Of course, the under hits there at 29, and then season points 88.5. Tage gets to 56, so over on that.
Your
um,
quote is so funny.
so when we asked this, I always said FanDuel's begging me to win some money. This is an easy over.
Listen, if
That
Tage
was for
doesn't
the
break his hand, if he doesn't break his hand, there's a possibility that he gets to 50.
That was 47. That was for the 47.5 goals. So yeah, you said he breaks 50 this year, didn't he? What was his total the year prior? It was 47, right? I think
Yeah,
he had
yeah, 40,
47, and
47.
so we were basically just saying, is he going to do it
This is
again?
this
And
is great though because I wonder if the sports books put his over at like 42, And in that case, I will definitely probably bet the over.
Oh, it's definitely going to come down next season for sure. Just because I mean he has 56 points this year in 29. Granted, we already know that's because of injuries and whatnot. And Tage looked to be back to himself those last couple weeks in the season. It just sucks you couldn't see that all year because those last
Yeah.
couple weeks I thought were great. He looked good. He looked healthy, and it's just one of those. This is just one of those things where injuries got you. It's like betting like the Bills to win 13 games and then Josh Allen gets hurt in like week 3, and it's just not going to
Yep. And
happen.
then it's like, oh, well, fuck.
Yeah, yeah, but
Kind of a similar thing for our next player here because he battled injuries all season too.
yeah. So this is an interesting one because obviously the injury talk with him wasn't as high. Like I think everyone knew Tage was maybe a little bit more banged up. We don't know the extent to any of these guys just with the way that hockey is, but Alex Tuck season points 73.5, and I remember when we talked about this was definitely one that we were a little bit more hesitant about at first. We ended up both taking the over on this, but you were thinking he was going to be at 77 points. You said I
I
think
did.
you said you
I
think he
I
comes
thought
close to
that
79.
I thought that Skinner, Tuck, and Thompson were gonna just like go off again like they did last year, and like clearly that didn't happen. But I, don't- I don't I don't think Alex Tuck is a 59 to 60 point around that range type of player. I think he's got a little bit more juice in him.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, 50. I mean, when you think about 60 points, you're saying
Like second line caliber player. I think he's better than
yeah,
that.
like slightly above average, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
above average, but like slightly above average. Like when you start getting into numbers like where they had him set at like 73.5, like at that point you're not far. That's not far off from a point per game player, which is pretty darn good, And I think that's where Alex Tuck is. There's circumstances that led to this, and obviously Tage being hurts his chances at getting points as far as assists go and things, and just having fluidity on that line, and things got bounced around a little bit as far as the lines that go because Don never knew what the hell he was doing and never wanted to make up a decision on things. So we were both kind of close on this. I said that Tuck was going to score 30 goals for sure, and we both took the over, but that comes in under at 59.
How many
Let's
goals
get
did
in.
Alex Tuck score? 22? I want to say 22.
I can look it up. I
I'll
mean, if you
check.
want to
I'll check
get
right now. You keep talking.
yeah. So he probably had some. I know he got over 20 for sure. I think Tage and Paterka ended up. I think Tage ended up leading in goals with 29 because I think Paterka had 28. I don't think Paterka
Yeah,
got to
Tuck
29.
had 22.
So Tuck had 22. Yeah, yeah. I mean, scoring was just so down for
It's
everyone this year.
it
Crazy.
sucks like looking at this again. It's like, oh my god, like how did this happen? But we know how it
Yeah, yeah,
happened. We had junior varsity coaching on the bench.
yeah. Well, absolutely.
This one
The next,
is the next one for Darlene are just very funny.
yeah. So I'll let you say your quote for the
So
Dahlin
we
one
had
because
we had
this was
Rasmus
Rasmus
Dahlin.
Dahlin season points
FanDuel set Dahlin's.
72.5.
Damn, I was talking and you were like talking at the same time. That was fucked up. 72 and a half is like Rasmus Dahlin should be hitting 70 points. Like, he's that good. Power play is like the sole reason why he did not hit 72 points. But my quote was super funny. I said, "This is where
This
I
is so
think
much.
this is where I think Darlene does some supernova shit and hits like 90 points. I think Darlene skyrockets into that upper echelon over a point per game defenseman territory. I will say, I will say, he has the ability. He has the ability. Give the guy a proper power play, please. I'm begging you guys to coach a proper power play this season.
Yeah, I think Dahlin can definitely be like a 90-point guy, like season in, season out. He definitely has that potential for sure.
I mean, 90 is fucking crazy. If he can he can hit like 80. He can definitely go for 80 at some point.
Well, I guess defenseman scoring is
Yeah,
down, but 90, I don't know, man. I think if
I
he's
mean it would
gonna
be pretty
be
sick.
if he's going to be that top, 2 or 3 defenseman in the league, which I mean, he's getting paid like that right now. I mean, that's kind of the expectation, and I think he can do it. I think he has that potential in him. It's obviously easier said than done, but he does have that. But he brings a lot more to the team than just the points. I took the over on that as well, so we were both wrong. He ends up finishing with 59 on the season. This one was a Sabres Spotlight special, and we put this Rasmus Dahlin season penalty minutes at 79.5. And we did this because he had 92 the season prior. So he led our team, and that was part of the storyline with him going into this season. We know the skill is there. We know all the finesse and things is there, but he has these dumb penalties, which are obvious at times, and bad giveaways and whatnot. And so this was pretty much us saying, is he going to clean some of that up, or is this going to still continue to be an issue going into the season? He comes in under at 66, which that number surprises me a little bit, actually.
Me
I
too,
don't know
because
if that surprises you or not.
I felt like he was getting like those special Darlene penalties. But I did think about this before we came on because the special stupid Darlene penalties that shouldn't be called, they went to Zach Benson all year.
Oh my god, yeah, that'll be an over under for next year. Like dumb Zach Benson penalties. Like we probably have to set it at like 6.5 because it was
I
probably around there.
I don't know which content creator or person like did a cut up of all of Zach Benson's like phantom penalties, but I did see it like a week ago and I was gonna send it to you and I forgot, but it was so funny. It was just like a mash, like a cut up of all of his phantom penalties, and it was just like, how, dude? Like it was ridiculous. Like what were they looking at? What are these officials looking at here?
Did you see that? I was watching some videos the other day on the Sabres YouTube, and I was watching Benson's like end of season presser. And did you see they asked him about it?
No, I didn't.
and he and he's like laughing, like he totally knows. He's got to talk to about it with the guys. Be like, "Dude, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. These guys just have it out for me." But they basically asked him like, "Oh, what do you think about these penalties?" And he's just kind of like laughing and shaking his head, like,
Uh,
"I don't
they,
know, man."
they were treating him like he was a kid getting grounded. It was just ridiculous.
So Benson might have taken some of those, but it was like I said, that 66 number as far as Darlene's year penalty minutes was that was somewhat surprising for me because I kind of still felt like I was seeing a lot of like Darlene going to the box this season.
Yeah.
Um, your quote was funny because you were saying until proven otherwise, I'm going to say the NHL officials continue to ref him differently. You repeatedly kind of said they ref him like a plug
Yep.
with that. So I don't necessarily know if that changed this year. Maybe it was just maybe this is just a fluke thing. But I laughed at mine when I did this because I was saying, I said if you're around players like Clifton and Eric Johnson, I think Darlene can
Oh my
improve
God.
by having more awareness. And I'm like, wow, looking back, I just cringe on that quote. Oh my! Although
So tough.
Clifton, I will say, like, it's not like he was terrible this year. Like
No,
I'm
he was
kind of
pretty.
fine
He
with
was
him.
okay at the end of the year. Like he definitely like
Yeah,
you could see him like finally settle in. Like obviously too little, too late, but he settled in a little bit there towards the end.
yeah, definitely. Eric Johnson just an absolute mess,
Next
but
one's funny, dude.
So next one, Devin Levi season wins was set, and I almost wanted to bet this, which is crazy. 23.5. Maybe looking back on this, I know we were so high and excited on Devin Levi, but this was probably would have been like the safest bet of all time to take the under on this.
Yeah, I mean he was not good. I mean it's we were drinking the
We say
tea.
this as he's about to stop 60 shots tonight.
Well, listen, he finally
Jeez.
got in the right place, and he's playing really well in Rochester. But he was not very good early in the season, and he was like decent other games and not good. And then like he'd be really good, and the Sabres wouldn't score goals. So I was like, okay, we're just not. This guy just needs to go to the AHL. And yeah, he 23 and a half, and he finished with 10. And I remember saying, we're not responsible for you guys losing money on this show. So
You did say
when
that.
I say bet the over, don't listen to me. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And we kind of both agreed that he would start about 45 games. He ended up starting 20. He was 10-8-2 on the season. What would you say is your overall takeaway as far as Levi goes
They should
from
have
what you
never
saw
had him
this
in the
year?
NHL. Should have never had him
Yeah,
in the NHL. That
yeah.
is stupid. Just dumb shit
Just
they did.
an oversight for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the good thing is that he was, again, he was either like really good or really bad, and that's, I guess, what they should have expected. I think that's where their foolishness came in, is expecting that not to be the case. But I think it's nice to see the flashes. Like, seeing the flashes is good because, like, you saw, like, he can do this. Like, he can make these saves. There's going to be an adjustment period, and now he's destroying things in Rochester. Like I say, he's got 60 saves tonight, and hopefully they make a deep playoff push. But he's like second in the AHL in save percentage, so he's in a good spot right now. And you just wish that. Do you think? Do you think if Comrie was better, that they wouldn't have needed to do that, or do you like that they would have
Yeah,
felt more comfortable? Like, I
if
guess that's a
if Comrie was a
no brainer,
viable
isn't it?
NHL player, they would have never even needed to play Levi a single game.
I guess, but do you think? I think they love Levi so much. So part of me almost wonders, like, part of me thinks that if Comrie started the year off real good and Levi was playing kind of like mediocre, but UPL was good, they might say, "Oh, like, let's roll with UPL. We like Levi, and we'll trade Comrie." Like, part of me thinks that they would have done that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there, they weren't even playing Comrie at all. So it was like, I don't know if anyone was like taking Eric Comrie off their hands, you know?
No, that would have been in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, if he got off to like a hot start or something. But no, I now you're wondering if he's even going to be like, if he's even going to be in the NHL, or if he's just going to sign like an AHL contract or whatnot. I mean,
Nice to see Devin Levi playing well in Rochester, though. I mean, he has 55 saves right now in overtime, so unbelievable.
he is actually, yeah, he's just the reason. I mean, if this game gets to triple overtime, that would be insane. These guys are
I
going to be
know.
dead when they play in a couple games. But all right, next we're moving on. Dylan Cousins,
Oh,
season
Jesus
goals
Christ.
29. You got it. You have to read your quote for this one.
Fucking Vando Pound said that Dylan Cousins over under for goals in the season was 29 and a half, and I said I am
Oh
absolutely
my god.
pounding the fuck out of this over. I think I said if you don't pound this over, that you're a fucking imbecile or something stupid. I said, and wow, did Dylan Cousins have an absolute mar of a season? Unbelievably bad season. We don't. I don't even want to talk about Dylan Cousins. It just depresses me.
Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time here, but you said he's going to score 40, and I said he's going to score 34,
Oh my
and he
god, he's
scored
18.
18. So all
Poor
I can
guy.
say is, Lindy, come save this guy
Yeah,
because
please, please save him.
he needs it. He needs it.
He
This
he
one,
needs an exorcism. He needs like he needs to maybe not skate for like another 3 months and just kind of just take a break from hockey for a little bit.
yeah, he needs
He's
a reset.
he was like Bambi on skates out there and never had stick handled a puck in his life.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs that, like, Mitch Trubisky, like, go like to Buffalo and send the bench for a year. He's not actually going to do that, but he just, in theory, he just needs a reset.
Yeah,
So
he'll be a
hopefully
good player.
next year is much better.
I have confidence
I'm
in him. I especially with Lindy here. Lindy's gonna push him, and we're gonna see the Dylan Cousins of 2 seasons ago for sure.
What's your worry level? 0 to 10.
It's like a three, a three.
Okay, I think I'm around there. I
Like
might go like 4, but it's still relatively low.
guys have seasons like this all the time. Like there, you got to remember, like
Yeah,
he's still a young player. He was only this was only his what age 22 season, and it's like okay, when you put it
yeah,
in perspective, it's like the Sabres brought him up so young. Like he's not gonna always like ascend. Like he definitely like had a little valley there, and hopefully he peaks next season.
yeah. And you can't, and Quinn being out definitely hurt him as well. I mean, that's a given, and you hate for a guy to be reliant on another guy, but I mean, it's just a fact that Quinn's a great player, and when you take a great player away from someone, it affects them. But interesting one here next, because this player did not finish the season with us, but Casey Middlestat, season points 59.5, comes in on the under at 57. And I was thinking he'd be like in the 45 point range, is what I said on the podcast. My rationale for that was, I don't know. There's a lot of players that are going to be scoring and getting points, and potentially will his role be somewhat diminished, just with the amount of skill that we have in there, and just not being as much counting stats for him, because it's getting spread around a little bit more. But that wouldn't necessarily mean that he had a bad season or wasn't as effective on the ice. But so I took the under, and so did you.
Yeah, I mean, I said that he was be an excellent third line center on a Stanley Cup role, but or a Stanley Cup contender. But dude, he's better than that now. He's a legitimate second line player in the NHL. Like he's playing under the McKinnon line and
Yep.
feasting on those minutes. And we all knew that Middlestat was a good player. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with Bowen Byram in the future and how he develops. But good for Casey, and he did just miss out on his point total. So
Yeah.
if I bet
50.
that properly, then I would have won some coin.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like cool to put in there the your quote about him being an excellent third line center on a Stanley Cup contender, because he's on a Stanley Cup contender right now, and he's even better on the second line. And so kudos to him, and we like Casey here, so um, we'll see if Toronto can keep things going with him there. He's been getting a lot of love and being successful there. This next one, dear God. This next one is just literally what sunk our season. Power play 20. We had this set at 25%. This was not. This was just something. This was another Sabres Spotlight special. Prior season was 23.4, so we were essentially just baking in a little bit of progress here. You took the under because you were concerned about shooting luck, which you would have been very correct on this. I took the over, but I did say I was concerned about other teams figuring out our power play and our power play strategy and things. So we come in at 16.6%. I don't know if we need to elaborate too much here. Power play was awful.
Well, just like story of the whole season, the structure was bad, and guys literally forgot how to score.
Yeah.
So, not really much else to say there. 16% is pathetic.
I mean, we literally did a whole segment block, like halfway through the season around, it was either like Thanksgiving or Christmas time, accounting for the power play. And I think we figured out at that moment in time, halfway through the season, and I think it was a little bit before that, like a semi decent or just average power play would have got us like 7 more points at that time. So if you just double that and say a regular average power play gets us maybe 14 or 15 more points this year, I mean,
That's a
look
98
at
win
what
hockey team.
yeah, look there you go. That's exactly what you said. So there you go, story of the season right there. Penalty kill, 80%. That would have been league average. We were 73% the season before. So again, this was us kind of saying, all right, can we get this? Because the penalty kill last, well, 2 years ago, I should say, was terrible. Last season was better, but we were basically setting this at will we improve a little bit and get to league average? You said over, I said under.
Yeah, and they finished at 79.8%. So it was like so close to league average. But what was I wonder actually. Maybe we'll look it up like later. But I wonder what league average for this season was.
I think it was right there. I can get on hockey reference real quick and look that up if you want to just do the last one there real quick. Our little like this was so funny listening to it back because it was so, and actually the results kind of surprising.
Hold on. What is this one? You fed this in here and I don't understand it.
So it's shorthanded goals.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So over under two and two. Okay, we had
So
seven.
so I yeah, we had 7 shorthanded goals. So I
Get the
asked
fuck out
you
of here. We did?
yeah. So initially I asked, this was just spur of the moment type thing, and I said shorthanded goals over under 2.5, and you said over 2.5, and then I paused for a second and said 4.5, and you said under. So you were
Okay.
basically saying like
Seven, I feel like is a
3 or 4.
lot.
Yeah, I feel like 7 kind of is a lot, but let's all right, here is, I'm bringing them up right now. Why is this not loading here? All right, so Buffalo Sabres team statistics. So penalty kill was 79.8. League average this season was 79.02.
Oh wow, so we finished above league average.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, shorthanded goals we had 7 and league average was 7.
Nice. So hey, we're just totally fucking average all the way around.
Do you think we scored more shorthanded goals or allowed more shorthanded goals this season?
We allowed.
Do you think we allowed more?
I think we allowed like nine.
Yeah, we allowed 10. So
Oh my God,
yeah,
that's
so you're right
pathetic.
on. You're right
Pathetic.
on with there. Yeah.
Pathetic. That was fun.
All right.
That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I'm telling you, man, it was so friggin' funny just like listening to it. It was like a half hour block on that podcast and I was just laughing the whole time. So I'm like, man, we were just like so ready for this season and it was a big letdown. But should we get into the Amerks here before we, get to closing things out?
Sure, because this game is still going on.
I cannot believe that they are still playing. Like we said, oh, we'll record at 9:30 tonight, like after the game, and here here we are, probably
Syracuse,
15
dude,
minutes away from ending our show, and they're still playing.
the game is tied 1-1. Syracuse has 61 shots on goal.
Which means
And
Levi has six goals.
The Amerks have 33. Like, this is pathetic.
Levi's gonna need like he's gonna have to sit in the cryo chamber for like an
Yeah.
hour after this game. Just
Oh my God. Well, let's talk about uh the last game, and I guess we really don't have to talk about this one because it's still going on.
well, I think what's a little frustrating watching this series so far is I think Syracuse looks like the clear better team, like through 3 games. I'm hoping that I'm hoping that the Amerks can squeak this game out tonight because if they lose it, I my faith in them getting it done is would be very low just because I don't think they're playing very good hockey right now. Even in the first game, they blew a 2-0 lead. They ended up winning that game, but then they blow another 2-0 lead in the second game at home and they lose that game in overtime. And even today, I mean, you just heard it with the shots on goal, 61-33. Sometimes that's not always a reflection on the way the teams are playing, given like shot quality and whatnot, as opposed to just quantity. But Syracuse has 61 shots on goal tonight, and they have a shit ton of like scoring chances too. Like Levi is 100% keeping them in this game. So the frustrating thing right now about this series is just that I don't think the Amerks are playing very good hockey right now, and that's frustrating considering a team that came into this series winning 13 of their last 16 games. Like they were playing really good hockey coming in season. So I'm not really sure if Syracuse just matches up well against us. These teams obviously know each other, they're very good, or if we're just kind of like in a rut right now. I'd be curious to see
Yeah, I
what you
mean,
think.
from what I watched over the whole series, like, it hasn't been very good. Like, for most of the games, like, the Amerks are having their patented like second period. I'm gonna allow 15 shots in a period and only get two, and we're just like not generating offense at the rate we were like to end the season. Like, Yuri Kulik has kind of been like a little bit invisible. Isaac Roseanne is an incredible hockey player. If you had to make me choose between the two of them, I think I would want Roseanne on the big roster next season and maybe find a way to move Kulik for NHL help because Roseanne has been phenomenal. He's like one of the only players that has showed up in all of these games.
Yeah, does it scare you a little bit that like Kulik's like goals kind of dry up? Like I don't know. Like I love Yuri Kulik, but it is a little bit scary. You hear the you hear the thoughts out there, the comments like you know Victor Olofsson 2.0, and
Yeah,
I think it is a bit scary that like he is a streaky shooter, and Roseanne is 100% the more complete player. Oh shit, here we go. Come on, Levi. Oh, son of a bitch.
yep. I think this series might be over.
I am very scared. I just finished saying this. I mean, oh, what timing right now? I guess good timing because we're on the Amerks, but there it is. There it is. If you're listening, Amerks go down 2-1 in double overtime. That's a crushing loss, man. That is a crushing loss for the Amerks. Anytime you lose in overtime, it's tough, and double overtime's even worse. But somewhat saw this coming. But yeah, going back to what we were saying, Roseanne, as far as like prospects go, I think he looks like he's definitely the most complete player and ahead of Kulik. So I'm with you, man. I'm not. I wouldn't be opposed to trading Kulik if the offer was right.
Right. He's got the pedigree, the World Junior pedigree, the Rochester scoring, and Maybe we can blind some GM.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but I just think that Kulik's Kulik's dry spells of scoring do scare me a little bit. So there you have it, folks. The Amerks are now down 2-1 in this series. They're certainly not out of it, given that they played this team last season and were down 2-0 and won the last 3 games. The AHL is certainly crazy. Rochester has the skill; they can turn it up. My confidence in that is low right now. They have to find their rhythm and their game here, but they can certainly do it. They did it last year, and they're going to need a comeback again. So if they get a win in Game 4, which will be Saturday, then they'll play on Friday back at home, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's fun to talk playoff hockey on this podcast with the Sabres not out. And I don't want this to come to an end right now. I'd love for the Amherst to make a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sad now.
I know. Well, let's just do our goofball here before we head out, because I got a goofball to talk about, and that is Kuznetsov from the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't know if you've seen this guy, but it was in the shootout or penalty shot, right? Yeah, penalty shot in game 5, and he's done this before. I'm sure by now people have seen it. It takes probably 15 seconds to come down and just like almost like stops, and it's just so dumb. I hate seeing this stuff. It's so annoying, and it's like a trend that's like picking up, and it's just he's just crawling to the goalie, just waiting for him to make a move. Varlamov goes for the poke check, and then to his credit, he times it right and scores a goal. But it's just, I hate to see it. It's just so dumb. I just
It's
can't
lame.
stand it.
It's super lame. It's lame when he does it. It's lame when Patrick Kane does it. I hate it. But what are you really gonna do? Like implement a shot clock or implement like a back checker on a penalty shot? Like it's kind of just not gonna happen. I just think it's so corny.
It wasn't enough to it for a second. I almost was like ready to change my allegiance because I hate it that much. I'm like, you know what? No, screw the Canes. I just want the Islanders to win the series now. But I do like Carolina, and I want them to win the series despite Kuznetsov being a goofball. But
Did you
yeah,
notice
I
though?
just had to get that out.
Did you notice in the stands how funny it was? Because it's Carolina. They might not watch like a ton of hockey because Netsov just got there like this season. And oh, are you having issues? You having child issues up there?
No, Riley just woke up, but she'll
Oh
let you
God,
get.
we'll end this quickly then.
Yeah.
Um, so in the crowd, the fans are like raising their arms, like, "What is he doing? Like, what is he doing?" And then he finally scores, and they're like, "Yeah!" It was just really funny to see it. It was super funny. Like they probably like didn't watch a whole lot of Kuznetsov in Washington, and now it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is he doing this?
Yeah, good for them, but yeah, it's so like in that moment, it's like, what the hell is going on? And then, but they've seen it before because he's done that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's his thing. It's his thing. It's super
yeah,
annoying. I hate it.
yeah, yeah. All right, folks. Well, my timer has run out because I'm probably gonna have to go and put my daughter back to sleep. But we will be back next week with
These are
another
the brownie
episode.
points. These are the brownie points you win with your wife to get
Yeah,
cookies. So
yeah. Oh,
go
yeah,
go do
exactly.
it. Go do it.
But we'll see everyone next week, and until then, go Amerks, I guess, right?
Yep. Go Amerks and fuck the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh hell yeah! Hopefully we're talking about Dallas in a win next week. But that'll do it, folks. We'll see you later.
Bye.